The beginning of a dream. Sarah had always dreamed of speaking English fluently. Growing up in a small town where English was rarely spoken, she felt the language was a key to unlocking a world of opportunities she imagined. Traveling to new places, reading her favorite books in their original language, and connecting with people from all over the world. But there was one problem. English felt like a mountain she could never climb. Sarah tried several times to improve her English, but every time she started, she hit a wall of confusion and frustration. The grammar was tricky, the vocabulary endless, and speaking in front of others made her anxious. It was easy to give up and convince herself that she would never be fluent. But deep down, she knew that if she truly wanted to change her life, she had to keep going. Chapter 1. Building the Foundation, Vocabulary and Sentences. One day, Sarah decided to approach English differently. She realized that if she wanted to speak fluently, she needed to build a strong foundation. She started small, focusing on vocabulary. Every day, she learned 10 new words, but she didn't just memorize them, she used them in sentences, wrote them in her journal, and tried to use them in conversations, no matter how simple. To remember these words, Sarah started creating flashcards. On one side, she wrote the word, and on the other, a sentence using the word. She kept these cards with her everywhere she went. While waiting in line or riding the bus, she would pull out a few cards and quiz herself. Over time, these words became part of her everyday language. She also began to practice sentences. Focusing on structure and fluency, she knew that understanding grammar was important. But instead of getting stuck on complex rules, she practiced forming sentences. Naturally, Sarah found that speaking simple sentences out loud, even to herself, helped her gain confidence. For example, if she learned the word exhausted, she would practice saying, "I feel exhausted after a long day at work," until it felt natural. Chapter 2. The Power of Reading, Immersing in English. As Sarah's vocabulary grew, she started to incorporate reading into her daily routine. She knew that reading was one of the best ways to see how words and sentences were used in real contexts. However, she didn't start with difficult novels. Instead, she picked up books that matched her current level. Short stories, children's books, and articles on topics she loved. She would read slowly, taking time to understand each sentence, and whenever she encountered a new word, she added it to her flashcards. But she didn't just read passively, she engaged with the material. After finishing a chapter or an article, Sarah would summarize what she had read, either by writing it down or speaking it aloud. This practice not only improved her comprehension, but also helped her internalize new words and phrases. One of Sarah's favorite strategies was to read the same story or article multiple times. The first time, she focused on understanding the general meaning. The second time, she paid attention to details like grammar and sentence structure. By the third time, she could read fluently, almost like a native speaker. This repetition helped solidify her understanding and made her feel more confident in her reading skills. Chapter 3. Listening and Speaking, Finding Your Voice. Fluency isn't just about knowing words or reading well, it's about being able to communicate effectively. Sarah knew that to become fluent, she needed to practice listening and speaking. She started with something simple, listening to English songs and repeating the lyrics. Music became a fun and effective way for her to practice pronunciation and rhythm. Next, Sarah moved on to podcasts and audiobooks. At first, it was challenging to understand everything, so she listened to materials that matched her level. She found podcasts on topics she was passionate about: cooking, travel, and personal growth. She listened every day, often pausing to repeat phrases or write down interesting expressions. But listening wasn't enough. Sarah knew she had to speak, even if it felt uncomfortable. She started by talking to herself in English, narrating her day as she went about her routine. "I'm making breakfast," she would say, or "I need to buy groceries today." This practice helped her think in English and become more comfortable with the language. Sarah also found a language exchange partner online. They would meet twice a week via video call, speaking in English for half the time and in her partner's language for the other half. These conversations were incredibly valuable as they pushed Sarah to speak in real time, think on her feet, and learn from her mistakes. Chapter 4. Practice makes perfect. The importance of consistency. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah noticed a significant improvement in her English. She could read and understand more complex texts, hold conversations with greater ease, and even think in English without translating from her native language. The key to her progress was consistency. Every day, without fail, Sarah dedicated time to her English practice. She treated it like a workout for her brain, something that required discipline and regular effort. Some days were harder than others. There were times when she felt frustrated, when the words wouldn't come, or when she made mistakes. But Sarah knew that fluency wasn't about being perfect, it was about progress. She kept a journal of her learning journey, writing about her successes, struggles, and new words she learned. When she felt discouraged, she would look back at her journal to see how far she had come. This reminded her that every small step was bringing her closer to her goal. Chapter 5. The Final Stretch, Reaching Fluency. After a year of dedicated practice, Sarah's English had improved dramatically. She was able to read books in English, hold conversations with native speakers, and even watch movies without subtitles. But she knew that the journey didn't end here. Fluency is a lifelong pursuit. Sarah continued to challenge herself by setting new goals. She joined a local English speaking club where she could practice her skills in a social setting. She also started writing short stories in English, using her creativity to express herself in a new language. These new challenges kept her motivated and pushed her to keep improving. Conclusion: the power of persistence. Sarah's journey to fluency wasn't easy. There were times when she wanted to give up, when the obstacles seemed too big and the progress too slow. But she learned that the key to fluency wasn't talent or luck, it was persistence. By consistently practicing vocabulary, reading, listening, and speaking, Sarah turned her dream of speaking English fluently into a reality. Her story is a testament to the power of not giving up, no matter how difficult it may seem. Every effort you make brings you closer to your goal. Remember that fluency is not about perfection, it's about progress. Keep going, stay motivated, and believe in yourself. Just like Sarah, you can achieve fluency in English, one step at a time.